Recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. So we're going to talk about 4 ways to integrate faith into your child's life. Now, do you remember how hard it was to find your own faith outside of your parents, your youth leader, your pastor, even your friends, if you had friends who maybe were a little bit more spiritual at a young age? Because I do, and it's really, really, really hard. So how do we help our children navigate that bridge from our faith to theirs? The answer is we integrate it into their everyday lives. Now, if you're new here, I'm Tanya Johnson. I am the founder of Helping Hearts Homeschool, and I help homeschool parents and ministry leaders navigate the waters of social media. So we, on the homeschooling side, focus on building really amazing homeschool lifestyles while using social media in a way that not only glorifies God and educates, but also builds a paycheck and funds that homeschool lifestyle. So today we're going to talk about integrating faith into our child's life, and I've got 4 very easy ways that you can do this. The first one is very simple, and that's just praying at meal times. Now, I think where we fall short is we will sit down, okay, dear God, bless this food, your body, amen. And that becomes kind of a routine or a tradition. So our child just kind of picks up on the fact that it really doesn't matter. We're just kind of saying words to get it over with so we can eat. So what we have done in our family is we kind of push pause at meal times. We sit down, we go around the table, and we ask each person, okay, what are you grateful for today? And it forces us to stop what we're doing, kind of get our mind set on something that God has done. Now, our rule is you have to say something that you're grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours. So something that God specifically did, gave to you, showed you, whatever. And then once the last person goes, we take turns praying. So like if I pray tonight, then my husband might pray the next night, Gloria might pray the next night. And we just pray and thank God for the blessings that he's given us, as well as pray for any friends or family that we might think of. And then obviously we bless the food to our body. So number 1 is praying for mealtime, but doing it in a way that is intentional versus kind of just a routine that we get into. Now, number 2 is letting your kids see you doing your personal devotions. When Gloria was little, it was crucial that I got my devotions done before she got up. Otherwise, probably weren't going to get done. So I'd make sure and get up earlier than she would and get those done before she got out of bed and before we kind of started life. Now, as she's getting older, however, it's crucial that she sees me doing my devotions. She sees me doing my Bible reading. She sees me doing my journaling. She sees me doing all of my habit tracking. Anything that comes into my devotion, anything that's part of my devotional life, at least 2 to 3 times a week, I like her to see me doing it, and I'll have her sit across the table and do her own devotions when I'm doing mine. So it just helps her kind of see that the habit is consistent, and that is something that hopefully she'll take into adulthood, to where her personal walk with God is also consistent. And she can look back on the times that maybe we were really busy or we are going through a season of change and think, okay, well, mom still did her devotion. So clearly it's something that's important regardless the season of life that we're going through. And that is something that's going to help her transfer the faith from me to it actually being her own and belonging to her. And then number 3 is working with your kids in the ministry. Now, we've been able to do this since Glory was 2. Now, we've been able to do this since Glory was literally 6 days old. She was born on a Tuesday. Sunday morning, she was in my arms as I was teaching Sunday school. Do I recommend everyone doing that? Not at all. I do recommend taking a little bit of a break and being home with your baby and letting your body heal. But I recommend as soon as you start working back in ministry that you take your child with you. Now, if you don't have a local church that you can plug into, or maybe you just don't agree with one of the ministries in your local church, then you can also work in the ministry outside of a local church. That could be in the form of a soup kitchen, tutoring somebody, anything that has to do with giving back to the community. And anytime that you're able to interact with people, you can do it in a way that glorifies, honors, and points people to God by your lifestyle. So get your children used to showing love and love being an action versus just something that we talk about, but then we never bring them in to show God's love to other people. Number 4 is showing forgiveness. Now, this is probably the hardest one for me. When somebody does me dirty or somebody does something that is shady or behind my back or offensive or however you want to say it, the hardest thing for me to do is to forgive that person and not completely trash them. Now, if I come across that and that person is in my child's life consistently, and I'm constantly bad mouthing them, or I am telling the entire story to anyone who will listen within my child's earshot, then I am telling her that Jesus gave us grace, but we don't get. Then I'm telling her that although Jesus gave us grace, other people don't deserve the same grace. So I'm elevating myself by saying, well, I deserve to be forgiven from everything, but I'm not going to turn around and forgive somebody else. And that is showing my daughter that she can pick and choose when that grace is supposed to be given, and people are not equal in God's eyes. So that is something that is very hard, but when somebody does you wrong, forgive them, pray for them. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but definitely do not trash talk them in front of your child. Oh, you know what? I said 4 things. We're actually talking about 5 things because number 5 is not immediately answering their prayers for them. Give them a chance to connect directly to God. Now, this was something that was actually brought to my attention about 2 years ago from a friend of ours who was a pastor locally to where we lived. And he was teaching a lesson on this, and he was saying that a lot of times our kids will ask us for something and we immediately will solve their problem. We never even give them a chance to go to God. And I was convicted, like pretty much instantly, because just a little backstory. So when we first got married, we didn't have a whole lot of money. We worked really, really hard. And I was able, we worked really, really hard, but we were pretty much paycheck to paycheck. There wasn't a lot of extra anything. Now, Glory was super little. She wasn't asking for anything at that point. By the time she was old enough to start asking for things, I had already started working on social media. I was already making enough money to where I could buy the extra little things. So before she could even really ask for it, I would go buy it. Now, this this showed her that she could come to me for anything that she wanted, but we never connected her to God. So then what we started doing. is anytime she'll come and ask us for something, we'll tell her we'll go ask God. And we will give it a few days, weeks, whatever it is, depending on what it is, obviously, and let God answer it before we get a chance. So it's really a win-win because either
What?
please don't tell me you don't have underwear. Can you shut the door all the way? Can you shut the door? Either God bypasses us and he answers directly, or eventually we do go buy whatever that item is, and then he still answered the prayer. He just answered it through us, and we make sure that she knows that. So either way, we're connecting her directly to him instead of bypassing him and kind of answering for him. Now, if you go over on the blog, you can download a free faith bingo. This is super fun. It's going to give you different ways that you can integrate faith into your child's life, like very easy little practical things that you can do. And you can check those off and you can play it as a family. You can have a prize at the end if you want to. It can just be for fun. But it is something that I'd recommend doing so you have it visually in front of you. And visually in front of you, I think it's something that your whole family will enjoy. So have fun. I hope y'all have an awesome rest of your week, and I will see y'all next time. Mm-hmm.